That's right, y'all. We back on the scene to pull the lesson out. This is Gaming Looks Good, episode number 14, and we talking about Life is Strange, episode number 3. Now, this is the show where we take one game and we look at it from the lens of diversity. So, race, gender, sexuality, all that kind of stuff. So, it's not your standard review. I'm Shareef Jackson, chilling here in Milwaukee, and this week's t-shirt is from 8-Bit Animal. He did this dope little mashup. You got Mario here jumping right next to Mega Man, holding up the flag that says 8bitanimal.com seal of approval, just like the old school, like Nintendo seal of approvals that you see on the cartridges. So definitely go to 8bitanimal.com. He has some great features there, like the Summer of 8-Bit, where he reviews a different game every day, a different retro game, I should say, is a retro themed site. So definitely check that out. He's some good people. So let's get to Life is Strange, y'all. So I've already done 2 of these. And one thing I've noticed about this third episode is the portrayal of the men, which is pretty interesting since, most of this game is with the female characters. I feel like, the men were really focused on a little more in the critical points of the story here. And also on the dialogue, which has gotten to me worse as the game has gone along. And that's usually a little bit gendered. So we will check that out. But first, let's start with some blackness. Let's roll the tape on the scene where you're trying to sneak past a drunk principal.
Miss Caulfield, you have to be stealthier than that. You're not supposed to be outside your dormitory at this hour. You know that.
I'm sorry, Principal Wells. I'm still tense after I thought Kate was going to jump today. I just needed some air and space to walk.
No explanations. Seeing Kate come up on that roof, then seeing her come down with you. You saved her ass. Maybe saved Blackwell. Now don't get cocky. Going back inside. You earned good dreams.
Yeah, so the principal is straight up drunk, like on the campus. They don't seem to make a big deal about this. Like she just runs into him and just kind of like, oh, hey, drunk black principal, what's up? As if he does this all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's pretty crazy because, this principal has been kind of a minor character in the game. But I found it really interesting that he's the one that shows off, off his ass drunk. Now, there was a pretty big traumatic experience that happened in episode 2. So, obviously he's in a bad state. But at the same time, the guys in this episode are just in the weirdest situations. And this is the first one, just drunk principal on the steps. And the weird thing about it is it's like a stealth mechanic. So you actually have to use your powers to get past him because for some reason, even though he's drunk, he can still tell that you need to be more stealthy, which is so weird, especially for one of the few black characters in the game. So kind of weird. Let's go on to the next scene where we see some of the just really crappy dialogue in this game.
We have to find Rachel soon. We have to.
I promise you we will. Like you said, it's time to start the search for clues. Now tell me what's your secret.
Drum roll, please. I present the spare keys to Blackwell. Thank you, step prick.
You are such a boss, Chloe.
No one talks like that. And for some reason, only the women in the game talk with just these ridiculous, you're such a boss, step prick, and like all this stuff. It's just weird. Let's proceed.
I'm so glad you're my partner in crime. As long as you're my partner in time.
Insert groan here.
Now, it's not even the fact that the partner in time thing is bad because, I say corny jokes to my friends all the time, but the insert groan here and the you're such a boss are just these weird retorts. I think that they're trying to play on the fact that they're young, and I guess they would kind of say these things, but it just seems weird. Like it seems, like I've read in a lot of reviews of this game that, that they didn't really research exactly how young girls talk, and they kind of have these forced really weird slang parts. So, and again, the reason why I'm focusing on this in a video about diversity is because I really only see it from the women in this game. Now, speaking of a woman, let's go to the main, I guess, bad woman of the game, Victoria, and how she interacts with one of the male teachers.
Listen, you've seen my entry. You know it's better than that. Wouldn't that be so cool to hang out together in San Francisco, Mark?
Stick to Mr. Jefferson, Victoria, please. And, I haven't picked a winner yet.
You already love my work, so it's not like you're playing favorites. Just imagine if you picked my photo, though. We would have to spend a lot of time together. That could be fun, don't you think?
I'm going to think that you didn't say any of that.
You might as well choose me. Otherwise, I might have to tell people you offered to choose my photo for favors or something.
As a favor to your future, I'll also ignore that undisguised threat. This conversation is officially over, Miss Chase. I suggest you go back to your dorm now.
Wait! I only... Are you fucking kidding me?
Now, that's a really weird scene. Number one, Mr. Jefferson seems like a total creepster, right? I mean, even though he seemed like he was being forceful with rejecting her, number one, he's talking to her at night. I don't care if it's a boarding school. Your professors aren't going to be out talking to your students that late, especially with the male-female thing, because it's really weird. And it seemed like he was almost manipulating her, almost giving her that, like, yeah, you know, I'm giving you little hints that I'm somewhat interested, so keep on being like persistent. So really kind of strange. Also, the fact that Victoria, you know, basically offered, well, first she offered herself to him, and you know that would be some pedophilia, obviously, because he's older, and I think she's, you know, this is high school, so she's maybe 15, 16 years old, and the fact that she basically says, I better win this contest or else I'm basically gonna, you know, accuse you of, you know, of trying to get with me, or, you know, and anything even more up serious than that, maybe including rape or even something like that. So the fact that they try to make her even more evil, like with that, I found, you know, a little problematic, because they already established that she's bad. I don't feel like they needed to make her, like, you know, offering to frame this teacher, you know, for sexual like misconduct. You know, it's just one thing that I feel like whenever there's a female character that's supposed to be somewhat evil, they always go to that sexual part of it. So I thought that was a little unnecessary. And again, Mr. Jefferson, creepy. Stay away from that dude. More dialogue fails, y'all. Let's go.
You are magic! I have no clue how the hell you got in there, but you did it, sister.
Now that really hit me, because it's exactly the way that some white people in my life have talked when they're trying to use some kind of slang that is, you know, quote unquote black. Like that whole, like, you did it, sister, or you go, girl. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad that, like, they didn't have her like snapping her fingers or rolling her neck or something, but it just felt so unnatural and so like, oh, it just drives me crazy. You know, and I don't know if they wrote that specifically to like highlight the way that white people often try to parody that African American vernacular English. But I don't want to give them too much credit, because the rest of the dialogue is kind of so bad that for this to be sort of like this social criticism of young white people, for some reason, I don't want to give them that much credit. More dialogue fails, y'all.
Let's nab this last file, Sherlock. Always wanted to say nab.
All right, let's get to some bad decision making.
Care for a midnight swim? The Blackwell pool is ours.
Swimming? You want to take that risk now?
It's been a cray week. We deserve a little mindless fun in the water. We're done for the night anyway. We're rich, and nobody busted us. So, splish splash?
You're right. We hella deserve it. Splish splash.
Did you actually just say hella? I think I'm a good bad influence.
All right, so there's more of that bad AAVE with cray and like hella and like all that, which I just no, right? But there's also, you know, they just finished basically breaking into the school, getting these files, and now they're like, hey, we've broken into the school. Now let's go swim. on one hand, I wanted to say, well, that is something that, a 14, 15-year-old might think, but they seem pretty smart in other parts of this game. So just this is just a dumb decision. So inevitably, of course, the guards come in, and then there's a really bad stealth sequence where like you have to get away from them. But let's look a little bit into them actually going into the pool, because I think it actually kind of fairly tastefully showed two young girls having fun, not fully stripping, but basically getting down to their undergarments and swimming, and it didn't seem too creepy. I think it's pretty hard to do in video game, well, in media, especially for a young girl. So let's check out that depiction.
You. Tell me you're not gonna stand there watching me like a zombie.
Don't you dare!
Come stop me, hippie!
Okay, you asked for it. Cowabunga!
Why look, an otter in my water. Dun 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 dun.
You are so obvious. And I still get freaked out by that movie, so stop. I can't even watch any of those shark shows. I'll just rewind and harpoon you. Otter's revenge.
Cheater.
Yeah, you wouldn't know about that.
Pretty cool scene there, right? Like it shows like that friendship, and again, even though they're in their bra and their panties, it doesn't seem creepy. They're not like zooming in on different parts like they do in like other games. So, I think they actually handle that quite tastefully. And the dialogue was, it was okay. It wasn't like these stupid one-liners and like that kind of stuff. And the Jaws reference, really, really good. I don't know how they made it since they weren't even born when Jaws came out, but whatever, maybe they're retro, maybe they're hipsters. And you do get a sense that you're wondering this, all the way from episode 1 is their relationship, are they friends but kind of have a crush on each other as well? Because the whole story is that Chloe's friend goes missing, and it definitely seems clear that they had some sort of friends, but like a maybe more. And you kind of see a little bit of this evolve in the next scene where Chloe actually dares you to kiss her, and you actually get to choose what you do. So yeah, I know what I chose.
Damn, you're hardcore, Max. Now I can text Warren and tell him he doesn't stand a chance. Unless he's into girl-on-girl action.
You're such a dork. Oh man, that was priceless when I kissed Chloe. She didn't think I would.
You better not rewind and take that kiss back. You know I'm hotter than those Seattle art holes, right?
So, it looks like they're in that awkward kind of like, like they didn't really like say, ew, get off me, or like, or like whatever. So they definitely make it clear that they've at least thought about it, right? And there definitely is some tension there, some unresolved tension. And I think that they handle that well because they don't make it clear that like we're straight or we're gay or we're bi. Like they're just trying to figure out life, figure out sexuality, and like all that stuff, which I think is dope for a game to explore, especially with women, because so often you know what I'm saying, like those gender and like a sexuality lines are like very rigid. And the fact that they keep it kind of amorphous, I think, is pretty dope and a pretty pretty progressive thing to do in this game. So in the next scene, David, who's like another guy that's depicted as kind of a weirdo, after the drunk black principal and creepy Mr. Jefferson. Let's take a look at David when he finally gets called out for being an asshole.
That's why the students and faculty don't like you. You even hit your stepdaughter.
I do respect your service, but you don't respect anybody.
Chloe was doing drugs. That's illegal.
So is spying on people in your family and at your work. Why do you have photos of Kate Marsh and Rachel Amber in your files anyway? What? Is this true, Max?
Yes, David, why do you have these files at all? I find this very disturbing.
I do not have to take this kind of interrogation. Not from you punks.
Maybe you should calm down.
Oh, you're turning on me now, huh? Of course. Women always stick together. Well, screw you.
David, you better go to a hotel until we figure this out.
You can't kick me out of my own home.
It's my home, David, paid for and in my name. You know the law, right?
So David just, in the second episode, they seem like they were kind of trying to humanize him. Like in the first episode, he was just the creepy, overpowered, like security guard. In the second one, he was like stressed out about Chloe and stuff. In this one, he's just a straight up like misogynist, right? Like he's just like fuck y'all women, like for the most part. And like this is like his you know what I'm saying, his I don't remember if they're married, but his partner, his stepdaughter, and your character Max. And it's not as much as they're ganging up on him, more as they're just calling him out on their shit. I mean, he hit his stepdaughter. Has cameras all over the place. He has pics of the girl that's like a missing. So they are kind of uniting around this. And again, like the guys in this game, they're just portrayed as just this one slice kind of non-nuanced kind of characters, and it's a little weird. They're like kind of like these one-note people. So let's go back to the kiss, y'all.
Oh, we could cruise everywhere in this bad boy. Can you see us heading down the coast to Big Sur and beyond?
Yes, we'd be tearing up the highway. And you'd probably want me to kiss you again. Chloe, we're on a schedule. We need clues about Rachel.
I know. Just daydreaming.
So Max mentions the kiss, and it just kind of gets brushed off, right? So you get all these questions in your head, like, is Chloe intentionally trying to blow her off because she really liked it and like cares about it? Did she not hear her? Was she actually daydreaming, right? Or is it like a source of like contention where she didn't want to do it, or she didn't feel like getting into a big conversation about liking her like best friend? There's so many questions here. And again, I really like how they keep it this amorphous thing. Like it really, makes me want to continue playing this game, to investigate this part of the story. So I really like that they didn't make it this really clear thing. And now let's get to the final depiction of a guy in the game. Spoiler alert, we go back in time for this one to actually see Chloe's dad, who was actually killed off during the present time. So let's go to the past and see the depiction of the dad.
Hey, honey. Just making a fabulous breakfast with Chloe and Max. We're all going to work at the Two Whales. What? Oh, I didn't know you had to get groceries. Of course I'll come pick you up. Now I'll have an excuse to get a mocha. Be there shortly. Love you. Excuse me, ladies. I have to go rescue yonder queen at the Save Mart. She doth have many bags of delicious grub for us to feast
You are
upon.
ridiculous.
You'll be grateful for that someday. Shit, where are my keys?
Now, so that was Chloe's dad, right? So one dope thing that they did about the past was that Chloe was sort of this like happy-go-lucky girl. She didn't have any of kind of the cynicism and the anger and the rebellion that she has now. But they totally depict him as like this happy-go-lucky, kind of like dorky, kind of sitcom dad, right? Now, even though he might have been more developed than that as a character, they don't really show that in this game. So like once again, drunk principal, creepy teacher, misogynistic step prick, as Chloe calls him, and happy go lucky dad. they kind of fit easily into these silos. And, you know, I hope that those silos get broken and murkied a little bit, because they're definitely murkied with the women in the game. So that can kind of be seen as a victory, right? Because in most games, it's the opposite, where the women are the ones that are kind of one note, and it's the guys that have more other development. But I do think that there's a compromise, and there is kind of like a victory part where everybody, you know, can be nuanced and developed, and you know that's really a win-win for everybody, y'all. So that's it for this week's Gaming Looks Good, y'all. We will be back next with Game of Thrones episode number 4, and once the new Life is Strange comes out, you can definitely expect us to cover that as well. So make sure to follow us at Gaming Looks Good on Twitter. You can follow the hashtag Gaming Looks Good, or go to gaminglooksgood.com. Peace out.
Back to the lab.